Good morning. How's everybody? Everybody good? We are here. We are here. We are here. Lord willing, we are here. What's going on? Summertime in the country. Some of y'all over there in Southern Africa, it's wintertime. That's something. Good morning, everybody. This is Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Got my kalimba song coffee. ColumbusSongCoffeeCompany.com. Tell a friend we're on. We have a great conversation happening on today. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Yum. Yeah, let's see here. How you guys doing today? It's Thursday, August 13th. Just doing some housekeeping while we chat with you this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see here. Yeah, we're doing our thing right now. Just making it happen. Just having fun. Sharing information, inspiration with all of you guys. Thank you guys for your support since we started doing this. It's really appreciated. We just want to continue to do this, and we want to continue to share with you, culturally relevant conversations. We're making a few changes here as how we broadcast this thing here. If you're looking for us on my personal Facebook, I'm going to share it, but we really want the page Coffee Conversations with Greg J to be the primary, platform that you receive this broadcast on, the primary one on Coffee Conversations with Greg J. My personal one, we can make that. I'll share it over there. We're also on YouTube. We're trying YouTube now. When we first started doing this, we were trying YouTube. We didn't feel like the participation was really, really super strong there, but we're going to continue to do that now. So the page, Facebook page, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. We want you to like and share that one. That'll help us out quite a bit. Let me just put that up for you. And Coffee Conversations with Greg J will be our primary platform. And then we're over on YouTube there so that you can get it, just making it a little easier, we feel, for you to come. If you missed the live, you can come and see it on demand on YouTube. You can see it live on YouTube. You can see it on demand at beachcityradio.com. We're just growing this thing and making it easier for you to access the information. All right. All righty. Coffee Conversations. Let's see here. I got one last thing I'd like to do with you all, and then I'm going to make it happen. All right, let's look at the headlines this morning before we get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the headlines are coming. We really, really are excited because why? It's Kamala Harris. By now, you know that Joe Biden has picked California Senator Kamala Harris to be his running mate. Wow, so historic, yeah? CNN reports by selecting a Black woman whose background as the daughter of Jamaican and Indian immigrants embodies the new American story. He recast the Democratic power structure for years to come. With this pick, Biden acknowledged the disappointment that some Democratic women still feel nearly 4 years after Hillary Clinton lost her bid to be the first female president. That sting had persisted in a historic year when a record number of women ran for president as major contenders, yet did not advance into the final round, despite all the energy of the women's marches and the resurgence of feminism in reaction to Trump. Now, Democratic women and women of color, who are the driving force of the party, will see themselves represented on the national stage. Go, Kamala, go. Wow, this is an interesting story coming across my timelines this morning. The Los Angeles police are investigating a possible prank call that led to the department's heavily armed SWAT team descending on the block of one of the city's leading Black Lives Matter activists, according to an LAPD spokesman. Melina Abdullah, co-founder of Black Lives Matter LA and a Cal State Los Angeles professor who has been at the forefront of recent protests decrying police violence, began streaming live video last night on Instagram from her home, showing armed officers staging outside. I don't know why they're here, she says. No one was injured, though Abdullah repeatedly expressed fear that officers would escalate the situation. She was concerned about the safety of her children who were in her home at the time. Now, these prank calls is called swatting. So people call the police, call SWAT, make up some far-fetched story. SWAT comes and responds, and it's a prank call. That's very, very dangerous, and it happens all over the United States. Y'all, let's not do that. An independent group of investigators from the U.S. Army will be probing the rise of serious crimes at Fort Hood, Texas, involving the military base's soldiers. At least 9 service members have been found dead at Fort Hood, and in more than half of those cases, foul play has not been ruled out. As recently as Monday, local police arrested 2 of the base's soldiers for their alleged involvement in a sex trafficking scheme. One of the most high-profile cases is the April murder of 20-year-old specialist Vanessa Guillen, whose body was received by her family on Monday after a delay in which FBI investigators took over the case and took a fresh look at all existing evidence. A public memorial will be held for Guillen on Friday in Houston, after which her family will hold a private burial on Saturday. These and headlines and more on Beach City Radio, beachcityradio.com. Good morning today. We're investigating the film industry, a very interesting conversation. We've learned about, how we've been, lots of my friends were talking all the time about events and festivals and all the stuff that we would be trying to be a part of at this time. By now in August, we will have gone to so many different events, but Rona got us hemmed up, and we're watching as people, pivot in reaction to the coronavirus and reaction to being quarantined. And we see that organizations and festivals and conventions are doing things a lot differently in a virtual space, and this one is no exception. We're talking about the Haiti International Film Festival, and we're going to bring in Brother Jacquil Constant. Good morning, my brother.
Good morning, man.
Yes, sir. You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing excellent, Just ready for the film festival. We got a couple of days. It's August 15th and 16th. So we just have a whole day just planned out for you guys. We have 10 films, 7 short films, 3 feature films. Jimmy John Luis, he's, our Haitian hero. So he's going to be there at the film festival. So I'm just really excited that this is the first time that we're going virtual on Exert.tv.
All right. Now, let me just kind of back all the way up. So the Haiti International Film Festival, first of all, tell the people what your background is, what you're doing now, what's your trade. Who is Brother Jacquil?
Jacquil, first and foremost, I'm a filmmaker. And the reason that I started the Haiti International Film Festival, it was to show a different side of Haiti. Because for the most part, the tagline of Haiti is the poorest nation on the Western Hemisphere. And I did a documentary called Haiti's a Nation of Artists. And it's about Haitian artists creating transformational art, after 2010. So I just wanted to show that we have a rich cultural history of the arts. And I think that's pretty consistent with the African diaspora. We use the arts to express ourselves, to show our humanity. And I want to show that through arts. Haiti is known for their art production, and they create the most Black art, and that's and with the film festival, I wanted to show a different image of Haiti because the things that me being Haitian American, knowing that we have self-agency, knowing that we're hardworking people, that's not what I don't see that on mainstream. So I think it was, and we have this new revolution of Haitian cinema past the earthquake that people from the diaspora like myself have went back to Haiti and have reconnected with their roots, and they wanted to show just a different image of a society that they know of.
Yeah, talk about that. I mean, after the devastating earthquake a while ago, I'm sure there's been a cultural rebirth, a cultural revolution. And I'm looking at your face, and I estimate that you may be at the forefront of the new generation post-earthquake. Talk about, like, how are our brothers and sisters in Haiti, how they've recovered, and what does that cultural revolution look like?
I mean, they've definitely, I'd say from being there, I went first in 2011, a year and a half after, the devastation. It's definitely a recovery because you're seeing there's a lot of just culture events, banks are open, but there's things are happening all the time. Gas shortages, there's other politics that are happening in Haiti. But I think there are people who are doing good work, like the Haiti Tech Summit, me with the Haiti International Film Festival. There's like a movement of, Christina Tim, we're honoring for the Haitian Diaspora Award, who hosts these Haiti Tech Summits, these summits throughout the African diaspora. First, she did in Haiti, and it's going on its 4th year. And her husband, Einstein and Tim, is from Ghana. So now they're in Africa. And it's just a beautiful thing to see that they're using their resources, they're Ivy League college to let's reach out to these emerging markets. Let's do things that was beneficial. Like, I worked at Paramount, I teach at Pasadena City College, but how can we make programming that fits our community? That's very detailed. And I think that's the thing. I think the challenge as a professional, right, is to find something to benefit your community.
All right, let me ask you. So I'm at the Haiti International Film Festival. Do I need to speak French?
No, everything's subtitled, so you don't have to speak French. So
Okay.
we make sure, since we're on the West Coast, we have to make it international and global. So we have to make it inclusive. So we make sure all our films are subtitled, or some of them are just in English. So you don't have, there's no subtitles.
Here at the Hannibal Media Group, home of Coffee Conversations with Greg J, beachcityradio.com. We are dedicated to building a bridge of music, arts, and culture with Africa and African America. If you watch this live stream regularly, you see we always have different, guests from, we've had them from Ghana, we've had them from South Africa, we've had them from Kenya, we've had the ambassador from the African Union on here twice. So we are really about advocating arts, music, arts, and culture, from the diaspora. I'd like to ask you about just a little bit of history, if you will, there, Professor, about Haiti and France. We see, I need to throw in Senegal into that conversation. Our honorary consul, our good friend, Mom, watches this regularly and interacts with us. France has got its hands in the diaspora pretty deeply. Now, I know that Haiti is famous for the revolution against France, and we can chat a little bit about that. But do you see the hidden hand of France in the politics of Haiti right now?
I wouldn't say, I think it's kind of hard to completely break away, but Haiti has been, has received its independence in 1804. And I think that's why there's such a creation of like Black art, because it's connection with Africa, but the spirituality and all that. I think that's what we have that. But I think, of course, Creole is like French is still the official language, but Creole now is the secondary language. But everybody speaks Creole, but all the business, all the schools, the churches,
Yeah.
You know, for the most part, it's still French is still the primary language, and I think you find that throughout the Caribbean. Jamaica, there's patois, but everybody speaks British English is standard. I mean, these are money languages. English, you know, that we can have Black English versus standard English. I think that's always going to be the situation when you're, you know, in a country that's been colonized before.
All right. So, what do you like when you're around your Haitian friends and family? What do you speak?
We we speak Creole when you see it, or Creole-ish, because you know we're in California. Yeah, you know,
that's a TV show, Creole-ish. You got
yeah.
Blackish and all that. Now you got Creole-ish.
Yeah. So,
okay, give us an example. What is Creole-ish? Come on, Professor, give it to us.
Oh no, I mean, with Creole, I mean, the thing I would have to say, like, it's kind of hard, you know.
Okay, say, look, welcome to say, come to the Haiti Film Festival, International Film Festival. Say that. How would you say that?
Okay, Vini to Film Festival, nous gain no États-Unis, no California, nous la pour, like we're here for you.
Nulapo. Ah, shoot! Yeah. Look at me. That's a good thing, y'all. All right. Well, this is good stuff here. You know, our friend Congresswoman Maxine Waters. One of the most famous stories that I like to tell about her is when she came and was, you know, she went and rescued the president of Haiti. And got him over to Africa and everything. That was a gangster move if you really, really want to know about it. I mean, she went in there with helicopters and everything like that. Do you remember those days? And, you know, talk a little bit about it if you do. Do you remember the upheaval that would happen to be going on at that time?
I was pretty young, to be perfectly honest with you. So if I've heard about Aristide, and they're actually starting like a medical. They've had a medical school, the Aristide Foundation. But yeah, she did. I think Danny Glover. Yeah, they took them to South Africa. You know what I mean? Because basically they were asking for reparations. That was the problem. They were asking for reparations, and France didn't. I guess they didn't want to pay back all that money, because after Haiti got its independence, they made them pay back. For the planter society that, you know, were decimated because of our independence. So it took Haiti years to pay back, you know, millions of dollars for them I think all the way into like the 50s. It took them a long time for them to pay for it. And the Americans actually came back to Haiti in the 20s. And they were there for they're in the Dominican Republic. They were there for I think 15 or 20 years. They were there for a while. So yeah, it's those politics too, you know what I mean, that, you know what I mean, but I think Haiti's always have the fight for his independence, has made his art production, his film production really strong, because, you know, people are trying to make you a second-class citizen in your own country. You know.
All right. So you have this rich history. You have a lot of stuff has happened when we think of Haiti. You know, yes, the earthquake, the political situations. It's rich history as basically a revolutionary state, overthrowing white supremacy. You know, pretty much. Now, as we see in your generation, right, and as a filmmaker, a storyteller, what kind of stories are you seeing from filmmakers in Haiti?
I think, and now you're seeing we weren't able, because for one thing, Haiti has 10,000 NGOs for 10 million people. So I think a lot of the storytelling is coming from a journalistic point of view, and it's just saying, you know, not the best of the society for the most part, but from the filmmakers themselves. I think they're telling stories about their families. They're telling stories about people that they love. We love romantic comedies. It's showing the diversity of the culture. You know what I mean? At least on the side of the the film festival. Like the films I get from Haiti, I make sure that they have agency, and it's just not like, oh, I need somebody from the outside to save me, So I mean, we don't really look for savior films, but we just want to empower our community, So I think there's so many filmmakers who, since the digital revolution, they're able to go and shoot films there and throughout the diaspora, New York, LA, and I think they the culture, and I think we're at a point where we could be the curators. We could be the ones to tell our stories, and I think that's important for the African diaspora and for the Haitian diaspora to tell, because it empowers you. It's changed my life. Every year I get new information. Last year was a big thing of the year of return, going to Ghana. Then some Haitians went to Benin. Haitian Americans went back to Haiti just to reconnect with their roots. And I think when you're born and or raised in another country, you need to go back and reconnect. I think even for the African American community, like if you were born or your family was traditionally from the South and you're on the West or the East, you need to go back and see what it felt like where your ancestors were from. Because I know when I go to New York or I go to Miami, I feel a different feeling. I get to see how my community is feeling now. It's one thing to see it on television, but it's something to go, where your ancestors, there's like a spirit that's there. There's a certain energy when you go back. I went to Burkina Faso in 2003. Like I really needed that. I read some Pan-African study books and all that. That was my minor, but me going to the continent and seeing all these amazing films, and we're like, okay, this is really a possibility. There's, millions of people that look like me, and they're producing films and curators and journalists, and I think we need to see, because I think we see the microcosm of us, but we don't see the big portrait of us, and I think that helps us to find our way to navigate the world.
Yeah, there's something to be said about when you step off that plane in Africa and you see everybody looks like me.
Yeah,
it's something to it is a spiritual, situation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it makes you acknowledge your full self. It makes you see, and you see propaganda there too, on news. They may have CETA commercials, like AIDS commercial every 5 minutes when I was there. And you're like, whoa, and you get to see the politics. Like when I was there, people were telling me I was not African enough because I was raised in the States. And there's somebody from Switzerland was telling me who ran an African film festival. So I thought that was peculiar.
Yeah.
This is totally different because I have running water, electricity, so I'm not, you're not part of that for them. And it was other people, so it really taught me, like, okay, I had this utopian vision of Africa, like it was going to be kumbaya, but when I got there, I was like, okay, there are some politics that are here too. But you saw like the ownership of a lot of the stores were non-African. Africans were selling on the street, where I was in Burkina Faso, at least. I mean, maybe different other places. So just seeing that was like, whoa, what I mean?
We organized a tour to South Africa pre-COVID, every year. And our travelers, that the number one comment that they have when they experience that is, number one, they say, well, okay, Brother Greg, they don't show us this Africa. So they're amazed at the cosmopolitan experience that they have when they go into cities like Joburg or Cape Town, right? But then the other piece is what you said is very important, is a lot of even people like us in Africa will look at us from America and say, there's nothing African about you, and because we're missing culturalisms, you know what I'm saying? And so we don't know our culture because that was stripped away from us through slavery. And sometimes they see that, and a lot of them will say, well, we have come to their nation or to the continent with this really high idealistic vision of what Africa should be in our minds. And it's not that, because, you know, you do see not only what I was speaking about people saying, hey, you're not African enough, but you do see other cultures, the Indians, like from India, having all of the shops, right? And the Africans are out selling on the street. So
Right.
I think there's a ginormous movement to tell our own stories, to recapture our economic independence, even
Yes.
on the continent.
No, it's all over. I think once you see that, and same thing, you know, I saw that in Haiti. So I think that changes your mind. When you go to Africa, you go to Haiti, you go to, you know, New York, or where there's a big population of African descendants or Haitians, and you're like, okay, but we're not the owners of the shops. You'll go and live. And I was like, this doesn't, you know, we're the main, but I think that we need to have like the ownership too. I think that's important for our families, for economics, and to tell the stories. And I think it's important, you know what I mean? And I think from studying these things here in the States, but just seeing like when you get to Africa, you get to Haiti, and you don't see these things in reality. You hear these stories, you know, but you're like, okay, now I think from being in a place that's founded on capitalism, and, you know, ownership is so important here in the States, you know? So I think when you go other places, I think you look at things from a different lens.
All right. So Haiti International Film Festival. Tell me, when did you found that, and what made you say, okay, I need to start a film festival?
I started in 2015. The reason, because there were so many, because I'm a filmmaker myself. I was in the film festival circuit. I was in the Haiti Tech Summit, not Haiti Tech Summit, I'm sorry, the Haiti Film Fest. And, you know, I've been in the Pan-African Film Festival. Then, you know, I just talked to other Haitian filmmakers, and we need to, like, you know, change our image. So I had my first film festival actually at Cal State Northridge, where I was getting my master's there in interdisciplinary studies. And it was just to show a different, and it had support of the Pan-African Studies Department, the art department, the provost of the college. And from then, I just brought it to the city, like LA, because we need, you know, you're not getting to get too many people in LA to go over the hill, you know. So once I brought it over to Hollywood, then, you know, you start getting more of the stars that would come up, Ma Cahoon and, you know, Jimmy, and, you know, it just opened things up. And, you know, it was great to get support from my city. Like, I was raised in Hollywood. So once the last 3 years has been the Barnsdale, it has grown every year. And just to be able to create that space, because I didn't have that space when I got out of film school. You know, you just would make your films and put your films on YouTube. And I said, no, I want our films to be in theaters. I want them to be in Hollywood. I want them. And the goal later is to have the film actually, you know, have the film festival in Haiti too. But COVID happened. That was our fifth year goal. Yeah. But now we're going virtual, so Haitians can see it, you know, from virtually. So I think it's important, you know, for us to show it, you know, that different image. It's liberating. I ain't gonna lie. Like, it's, you know, now we have like panels this year. We expanded to having, we have 2 amazing panels, the Haitian Creatives panel and the Producers panel. Because last year at the Film Festival, the community asked the emerging filmmakers, we want to learn how can we, you know, move up the entertainment industry. And it's great to see, you know, our celebrities, but how can somebody who doesn't have any connections, right? So, so that's what we're doing. We're creating a pathway for them, and possibly start online mentoring things. I think it's important that we, who have this experience and being able to learn a lot of things we have in the States, or, you know, I think for us to share the information. I think maybe that's the educator in me, is to give our community resources, you know, to give them information and insight that they can do it. Because I think a lot of times they think success is not in their own backyard. But when you show them, we have successful writers, filmmakers, Raul Peck, I'm Not Your Negro. There's so many successful Haitians, but what you see on the press that's not what you see. That's not what you see when you watch Channel 4 news. You know what I mean? So I think we show them, and I think it makes them feel they're proud when they see these different images. And people are non-Haitian too. Like they're like, "Oh, I never seen this." And I curate Haitian art shows, and I see the same experience where like it's not this just one thing that you've been shown about our community. And I think people really appreciate that. And just take the time and do like anything else. We have to do the research. We can't just take what the mainstream just gives us and just consume that. We have to look for something different. And we've left books, we've left a lot of information. Our ancestors have. It's just like we have to look for it. If we expect to go the standard way, then you're going to get the same information. But if that's what I love about this film, showcasing independent cinema that's innovative. And from documentaries to short films to experimental films and narratives to the romantic comedies, the community really loves them. The Friends of Haiti are probably more of the, documentaries. The short films is more their emerging filmmakers want to see that because they want to get inspired to make their own films. So, I think it's great. I love it. It's a passion for me.
Sure. So, a few years back, my good friend Juanita Palacio Sims, who's the president of the Society for Black Latinos, invited me to this thing. And I think it was the Haitian Independence Day. I think that's what we were celebrating, but it was off the chain. I know that.
Yeah. Were you in Leimert Park?
In the Pico area.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Very good. And when I went to there, it was interesting because I've had a lot of friends who I did not realize their background was Haitian, and they were there and celebrating and the food and the music. It was pretty cool. Now, okay, let's talk about this for a minute. So you're planning the Haitian International Film Festival. You're in the mix, you're doing your thing, and then COVID hits. What are your thoughts when they began to shut things down? Talk to us, share your feelings.
I think it makes you even more resilient. For me, it made me sit down because I'm super networker, okay? So I'm at every event, I'm at the chamber events, so I had to recalibrate and just kind of change that and just okay, these are these projects that I want to work on, and I think it really helped that I got a career coach to sit down because I had all these ideas and they're there to listen to your ideas and make me put them in a certain format. So I think that really helped me. Yeah, because I finished the Actors Fund for Entrepreneurs program. Then I met a career coach. Her name's Markel. She's actually I think she's close to Long Beach. And, that really helped me just to okay, what is my focus for the next month? If these are the projects I want to have done, then, I just kind of that I've been here and just being able to deep dive and do research. And then I'm teaching at the same time. So I'm teaching a film class at Pasadena College online. And I think that just kept me sharp every week. You're teaching online and working on the film festival, working on getting submissions, getting our trailer cut during COVID, finishing my feature documentary, Haiti's a Nation of Artists, and sending that to my editor, and working with graphic artists all online and sending them and getting feedback and having them do their edits. I would give them my feedback and they would make finish the project. So I think as independents, we had to always be creative on the fringes, but now I think it's elevated our voices because we know how to deal with turbulence, So I think it just causes just to continue to, I think you find the Black community, they're creating stuff. I've seen plays on virtual. I've seen films. I think the Black creative community, they were going, from music to film. I think the creatives have just continued to create So I think that's part of their humanity. I think they wouldn't be. I think that's what's helping us get the COVID. Honestly, is that we have an outlet. I think it's hard for people who don't have an outlet. I think depression can seep in. But I think when you have a community that you're accountable to, then with COVID, I really expanded internationally. I have like somebody from Africa Pavilion from Cannes Film Festival. Can you bring the film festival out to France? To Cannes. I was like, I've had so many different, and I think I really had time to build my digital infrastructure. You know what I mean? Like I made sure this year the newsletter is done. I made sure our website was on point. I made sure, so I think I had that. I have a Haitian bricolage gallery that I'm starting. So was able to like obtain this, I had the art show at PCC that I curated, but now I have the art in the house, you know what I mean? So that just makes you feel great, and it's been a way for you to really build if you're not looking at the news every moment and listen to Trump and depressing yourself, because I can't listen to him for too long.
Right.
I think there's a lot of things. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of work out here for us to do in our community. And that's why I think the film festival gives you that thing that you can focus on something that's productive. So I think if you do that, and I think people are a lot more accessible now, you know what I mean? Because everybody's at home. Whatever everyone's at home right now. So I think it's the time to reach into market. You can reach a lot more people now because you have a lot more eyeballs.
Isn't it beautiful to see? I think about this almost daily. The creativity that you're seeing. I guess I could call them the alternative broadcasters and filmmakers, and I mean everything in this virtual space is really, really, it's exciting to watch people, pivot and create at a whole new level. And it is a whole new thing. And at the same time, we're educating, the listeners, the viewers, the people on how to consume, these broadcasts, coffee conversations with Greg J or whatever whatever that's happening online. You're having the listener, the viewer is having to train themselves. Okay, how do I consume this new form, of artistic expression? So in that vein, tell us how we will consume the Haiti International Film Festival. What do I need to do?
You just need to go on exurb.tv, and that's where all the programming is there. All the films are there. The panel discussions will be there. The Haitian Diaspora Award. I think it's just great to see, our leaders and the great work that they're doing, and our filmmakers, and to acknowledge them, because I think that's.
Yeah. Spell that destination again so we can put it up in our thread.
XERB TV. Let me share.
Oh shoot, we got some visuals.
Yeah, I do.
I love it. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Jacquil Constant. The Haiti International Film Festival is our guest this morning. We got our coffee. Hey, if all of y'all over there that are on my personal page, we were mentioning at the top of the show, we are trying something different here. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. We really want you to join that page. We're going to start using that as our primary platform for you to see our stuff. And then
I just want you to see some of the films that we have here.
Go for it.
So we have
okay, this here. Bam.
You see it? Yeah. So we have Junior is a short film about a Haitian, basically a filmmaker going back to Haiti to revive this tradition of drumming that was being lost, in Haiti. So we have that. We have Durance's an action film with Jimmy John Luis. So we have that. We have Delivered, Lost and Found. A woman who finds herself, she's in a relationship where the man's not, is not really, taking care of her, and she stands up for herself, and she leaves this toxic relationship. So that's what I'm saying. Films that have agency.
All right. So all right, here we go. I'm looking out there. You got Voodoo.
Yes.
What's that one about?
That one it's about actually that was by Jaimin who did that, and who was Blood Diamonds, the main actor for that. That was his independent production, and it's basically showing the positive, like, of the how voodoo connects you to.
You're talking about Jaimin Hunsu.
Yeah, so it just shows
Amistad and all that.
Yeah, it shows you the positive side of voodoo, not the stuff that we see from the West. So, and he wanted to reconnect with his roots and go to Benin and find out for himself. So that's what you get, and it's an amazing documentary. So we have things, of that nature. So it's just like that's what we definitely want to show you. The diversity of the culture. I think that's, I think that's important, and I'll just show you the schedule for the day. So you see that. Let me, no, not this one. It's this one. So we have the festival opening on August 15th. You see it?
Okay. Got it.
So the festival opening on Saturday at 12 o'clock. And we have a producers panel with Florence Regina as the moderator. We have a panelist, Dominic Telson, who's producing many films around the range of $1 to $2 million. And Janae Desiree, who works at CAA, and she's the executive for media finance. And we have a Going Back Home short film block where you see Haitians from the diaspora going back home, where they're going to Haiti or Benin. So you'll definitely see that. Then we got the Out of Chaos. It's an artistic journey of going to Haiti, and it's a filmmaker from here. He's actually French, and they have a gallery, Gary Lacaille, out here in Los Angeles. So you have that. You have Jaimin's film In Search of Voodoo, The Roots to Heaven. So it's a totally different perspective that I think is important for us to see. And then the next day we have our opening panel is Finding Your Voice through the power of authentic storytelling. So we have Gene Ellie, who's on Insecure. He's on the panel. We have, and he's I think nominated for Emmy. And we have Michelle Stevenson. She did American Promise. She's a Emmy nominated director. We have Karen Civil. Who's a marketing expert that she worked with Nipsey Hussle, Lil Wayne, and she's done so many things. She's an entrepreneur. So we want to show that we have the business and the creative side to our community, and to motivate them to do great work. And we have a Haitian Diaspora film block too, and we have the Haitian Diaspora with Christina Tim. She's a great entrepreneur, and we want to show that right now her skill set is really beneficial. Somebody who could build online communities, somebody who is creative, who is an entrepreneur. So I think that's what the young generation is providing now. Using their education and resources to create something for our community to sustain and to excel. Then we have the last thing is then we have Durances, and both nights we have and Jimmy John Luis is in that. He's our most famous Haitian actor, and we have and it's a woman director who's doing it from Burkina Faso. So we're having films that were made on the continent. So I think it's important for us to, and it's great. I love this whole in your show. It's like a perfect fit. This whole African diaspora thing. And the last thing I want to show you is the trailer. Let me do that. Stop sharing. Could I just do it from here? Can you see it?
Not yet.
Okay, let me go back to StreamYard. So I have it on here already. Oh, Chrome tab.
There we are. Okay, let's check it out.
Bonsoir, Haiti! The film festival is absolutely amazing. It's inspiring because all of the work that we're seeing are from Haitians and friends of Haiti who are so enthusiastic about the culture and the history and the whole Haitian diaspora and how different and inclusive it really is.
You know, when people think of Haiti, they think of all the same kind of cliche images, and Haiti has so much more to offer. And we can do that through cinema. We can do that through documentaries, through films, through short films, through feature films.
Talents are there, no doubt about it. I'll definitely keep on pushing, and I do have a few projects that could potentially involve some of the Haitian filmmakers as well.
Hollywood, it's a cultural project that goes across the world, and that's what we're doing with the Haitian International Film Festival. We're showing what Haitian culture moves throughout the world.
If you believe this art form is for you, and you believe you are ready for this industry, study. Study the people before you. Do as much research as you possibly can.
Haiti and Hollywood is going to have a platform. All of the filmmakers, actors, now has a home with Haiti International Film Festival.
All right. Uh-oh. Wow. Awesome.
Thank you.
Love it. Well, there you have it. There's good stuff going on here at the Haiti International Film Festival. I'm excited. I need to see the voodoo one, though. That has piqued my interest. I really want to see, what they have to say about that. I was talking to someone not too long ago about, in the African diaspora, when we speak of our spirituality, there's all of these elements that sometimes we don't want to talk about them. As we think about it, it might be the dark side or whatever. Over in Africa, it's just like you have in South Africa, they have like people who are like, yeah, I'm a Sangoma, and I mean, it is just a thing, it's not a stigma like it is here. It's just part of culture, is these different categories, I suppose is a good word, of spirituality. That's very, very, very interesting. Wow, that's an exciting trailer there, my brother. All right. So is there a cost for this experience?
Yes. So if you just want to watch one film out of one of our 2 film blocks, that's or watch one feature film, it's $10. But if you want to watch on Saturday or Sunday, there's a festival pass, and that's $20 all day for Saturday, Sunday. But if you get the VIP, you get to watch everything for 2 days, all the panel discussions, go to the networking sessions after. So I think it's really, important for you just to have a good week, take the weekend with us, or if it's just all day Saturday, you get everything. You get the panel discussions and you get the networking. And I think our business is a relationship business. It's about, community, so I think that's really important. That, that's kind of our tagline, that we've been illuminating dreams since 2015. So people thought they couldn't do this out of the business end, or, on the creative end, they see there was a possibility, And I think it's important.
Excellent. Now, okay, so let's change lanes there.
Okay.
I want to ask you about. So you're an educator now, and you're teaching your classes, with the available technology, and school is about to start again. Or if
yes,
number one, is it safe?
Yeah, it's definitely safe because we're all at home and teaching. So
okay, so you guys aren't going back to the campus.
No, we're not. Not until next year probably, but not in this semester, the fall. Not in LA, maybe in Orange County. But in LA, I think because we have more in Pasadena, no, it's definitely it was mandated, I think, by the governor. So no, not LA County at least.
Because at the high school and elementary and middle school, I mean, it's still a big debate right now if the children are going to go back, and so that's why I was curious about the college level. So classes online, it is.
Classes online, yeah. We teach them, we show them different films, and I think more of the films are produced now are a lot more social political now because people have time to stay home, they have time to really do the research. And I think the documentary project is really the experiment because we do 3 projects generally. We start off with an experimental project, then we do a narrative, and lastly they do a documentary. But I think for them learning those different styles, they really get to build their voice. And as they build a really quick community, I haven't seen how you can build a community and maybe like after their first project, they're helping each other, they're critiquing each other's films. And I think they look forward to producing something, with COVID and everything is happening. So I think the creativity gives them an outlet.
That's very interesting. So now if I'm your student, how do I submit my films to you? Just upload them to some server somewhere?
Oh, yeah, no freeway. I mean, it's that's the way, if you made a film about the Haitian diaspora, definitely you could submit it. Anybody could submit it on Film Freeway.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow. Look at that. The available technology is really, really something.
Yeah. Like I was doing that for, a couple of years before. So, I mean, it's been great just to be able to get film. And I think that's what makes it truly international because I'm getting films from France, from the Bahamas, and we're sending files, media files, MOV files. And, their finished product and be able to exhibit their work and give them a place right here in Hollywood.
It's interesting. My friend, Dr. Daniel Walker, he teaches at El Camino College, and I see his classes. He actually streams them on Facebook too sometimes, and I love to just dip in there and just kind of, ear hustle. It's like, oh shoot, I'm getting a little lesson here, and he's he's African American history and all of that. He's one of our resident scholars here at Coffee Conversations with Greg J. We had him on here a couple of times to talk about different things. This is very, very interesting. All right, so Pasadena City College, everything is all good. That is one of my alma maters. I learned the radio business on KPCC 89.3, and I got my little certificate degree from Pasadena PCC. I love it. Yeah, that's good. So
I was a student there too before I taught. So that's what's so real for me. While I was at CSUN, I needed to take some classes to get in because first I got in through liberal arts, but I needed to take some accreditation classes. And actually, one of my friends, he stayed in Altadena. So I ended up going, we started going to Pasadena. And I was like, oh, that was like one of my second favorite city from being in Hollywood. Like, oh, it's, it's 10, 15 minutes away from from Los Angeles, but it's just a totally different, it was very calm. And they have a very good art and film program. So then later on, after I got my master's, I started teaching there, from television production and now film production. So, I love the campus and the students, teach them stuff like have them see I'm Not Your Negro by Rob Peck. It's teaching them about Tom Bradley. Like some of them don't even know he's black.
Right.
He's a black student class. They just know him as an icon. So I think that's why the importance of history. Like if we don't show these things get lost. They only know about Jackie Robinson. We did an exhibition about him, breaking the color line. But he came from a single parent home in Macon, Georgia, and he came all the way out here and and became who he was because he wanted to be excellent. He had, So I guess seeing those type of examples and be able to show it in a different light and support artists. And they have a lot of great artists because Pasadena is a place where it was pretty quiet. There wasn't a lot of police brutality in the 60s. So they had a lot of Black artists out of Pasadena. That people, Charles White, like, I mean, if you look for it, we have the stories are there. Yes. It's just that you have to, they're just not on the surface, you know? So I think if you dig a little deeper, the history is here. I mean, just our city doesn't really, our city is a futuristic city. It doesn't really deal with its history. So I think even the filmmakers here need to do those type of stories because they're there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, and there's so much, and you know, we're just now in a generation where we have the technology and the wherewithal to bring those stories that we used to only hear, you know, by, you know, stories passed down from generation to generation, or they're, you know, the artifacts have been hidden in somebody's attic or whatever. You know, we're now at a generation where people are able to recognize these nuggets of history and now just kind of catalog them and organize them in a way that we can now tell our stories, where we have now our children like yourself, you know, our kids are the Jacquil Constants of the world, and they're saying, okay, well, look, we can make a movie, you know what I mean? And that's what's going on, I think, now in the diaspora. And I'm so happy to be, you know, able to witness it, be a participant in the whole thing, because it is so important. We have to be the ones that tell our story.
Yeah, and I think once you do that, and now our oral tradition can look at this. This is our oral tradition. We're able to talk and have communication, but this to reach the masses. I think that's the difference with the digital revolution and now being able to broadcast. You know what I mean? So it shows you our stories and our point of views are valid, where you wouldn't hear it. But now, if you dig a little deeper, you know, you can find out about, like, for me, like, I went deep. Like, I wanted to find out, okay, what was the Black theater? What was the Black theater experience? And finding, oh, we had that, you know, in Pasadena, it had a Black theater. And there were teachers and professors, and you're like, they're preachers and teachers who mostly run Black theaters. Yeah, it makes sense. They have a congregation, they have students they're teaching. They need to find a way. I mean, we were talking about from the Black Panthers to NWCP. They did all these. They did basically these promotional videos for their organizations. So when I read that type of stuff, and when I would work contemporary 100 years later with the NWCP or other, I was like, oh, so this has been done before. So it kind of helps you when you understand the history and how these organizations were successful. You know what I mean? Basically in the 1920s in the Harlem Renaissance, they advertised, they put themselves in papers, they, you know what I mean, decimated their information. That's how they became influential. So you're like, oh, this is the script. This worked in Harlem. This worked, and you do that, and you know, like I think, like, it's great. Like, I went to one of the historical towns, and Black historical town in I think it's like 2 hours away from here.
Allensworth.
So I went to Allensworth. He was a preacher. He went to city to raise money. He was in the military. A lot of the Black middle class are part of the military. It's like in Haiti. You know, my great grandfather was he was a general in Haiti, and it makes sense. You're like, you find a lot of Black middle class, a lot of them have a military background. And you're like, so these things are different where we are, but once you do the history connection, you start seeing a lot of stuff is very similar. You know, so I think the structure is there. I think the fallacy that we fall for, that we say we don't have a structure or we don't have anything. We've fell into the story of, I think, the victimization. Like, we don't have anything. We don't have a structure. We fell for the Morningham report, you know, that said, you know, I mean, if you didn't have your dad, you didn't have a family structure, but we had our kinship family structure. Right. And I think that's the understanding and taking that, because who are making these definitions and who is it beneficial for? You know.
All right, Brother Jacquil Constant, how are you, brother? Thank you so much for being here. There it is. The Haiti International Film Festival is happening online at xcrb.tv. So funny. XCRB was a legacy radio station. It's still around, XCRB, but when I was a kid growing up in San Diego, California, we listened to Wolfman Jack on XERB. That was it. XERB. Yep, that was good. Can you XERB dig it? That's what they used to say.
Oh, great. That's great. I heard they were a screenwriter.
Well, I'm not that good, but I'm a broadcaster. Is what I am. Yes, sir. Yes. I do have now our super producer and my partner Rhonda Love is a filmmaker, and so she's back making sure everything is going properly, technical wise on this one here, but you guys need to connect and chop it up, and that's a networking situation right there.
This is what we do.
Right, that's right. All right, you all, there you have it, Haiti International Film Festival. I'm gonna put up this the link is in the thread there, and you can also see it on all of our Facebook pages, over on YouTube, and at beachcityradio.com, and we're going to check it out. We'll be there. That's this weekend. Any last words for the people, Jacquil?
I just want to say thank you, Greg, for this interview with Coffee Conversations, and it's, I want you guys to experience this great cultural experience for the Haiti International Film Festival. And, we're here this whole weekend for you guys. So, just come on Exurb.tv and see these amazing films. A lot of these are award-winning films. And to see these new voices of, the Haitian and diverse filmmakers, who show the, Haiti through a different lens.
Yes, I love it. So there you have it, Haiti International Film Festival. Woo, what a great week. We got a couple great shows lined up for you next week. We're going to talk to some sisters, some Black women involved in construction.
Whoa.
At high levels. I'm talking building airports and
I gotta see this.
All kinds of stuff. We're really excited about that. We want to talk about that. You don't really hear about, first of all, you don't hear about much about women in construction, but Black women, especially at high executive levels of major construction firms, or even owning their own construction firms, participating in major construction projects. I'm looking forward to this conversation. And we got a couple of other things that we'll announce online a little later once we dot all of our I's and cross all of our T's. But Coffee Conversations with Greg J. right here, Facebook. Like and share our page there. That's really important right now, because we're trying to, change lanes now, you all, for change lanes now for our where you consume our programming here. We're just trying some things because we're growing very fast, and we do appreciate that. So check us out at the Coffee Conversations with Greg J page on Facebook. Get us at beachcityradio.com. Great music over there. Lots of news, culturally relevant news from all over the diaspora on there. Great music, great stuff happening there. Get your coffee, farmer direct from the mountains of Cameroon, Kalimba Song Coffee Company, Kalimba Song coffeecompany.com. There it is. Make your order. I'll ship it right out to you. All right. So I think I've done everything that I need to do for today, except to say to you all, love one another.
Yeah.
Love one another.
True.
Love one another. Peace and blessings.
Thank you. Thank you so much.